The lawyer's pen hovered over the signature line when I stood up and walked out. But let me back up. The coffee was cold by the time I noticed the man watching me from across the diner. I'd been sitting in the same booth for 2 hours, refilling the same cup, staring at the same contract. $30 million. My signature would make it real. 3 decades of work, reduced to a number in a dotted line. Richardson Analytics. I'd built it in a garage in 1994 with dial-up internet and conviction. Data modeling software back when most companies still used filing cabinets. Now we had 200 employees, clients in 40 countries, technology that predicted market trends with eerie accuracy. And Marcus wanted to sell it to Apex Consolidated. My son was CEO now, had been for the 2 years since Sarah died. Since I'd stepped back into the fog of grief and let him take the wheel. He'd courted Apex for months, negotiated the deal, convinced the board. All I had to do was sign. As majority shareholder and founder, my approval was required. $30 million, Dad. Marcus had said yesterday at his downtown office. You'll never have to work again. Neither will I. Mom would want you to enjoy retirement. I'd taken the contract home, sat with it all night in the house where Sarah and I had raised our children. Her reading chair still sat by the window, though no one had occupied it in 26 months. Now I was hiding in a diner at 6 a.m., avoiding the decision. The man approached my booth. Mid-50s, weathered face, wearing a maintenance uniform with L stitched on the pocket. Robert Richardson? He asked. I looked up. Do I know you? No, sir. But I knew your wife. My chest tightened. Sarah? I was custodial staff at Mercy General. Night shift. Mrs. Richardson used to work late in the research wing. He shifted his weight, uncomfortable. I'm probably overstepping. But I heard about the Apex deal. It's all over the business news. And I thought, well, I thought you should know something. Know what? Al glanced around the empty diner. Your wife spent 2 years developing something. In the hospital's research lab after her regular shifts. She never published it, never told anyone. But I'd see her there, 3, for in the morning, running models on their computers. Sarah had been a data scientist at Mercy General, working on patient outcome predictions. She'd come home exhausted, exhilarated, talking about patterns and treatment efficacy that no one else could see. What was she developing? I asked. Medical diagnostic software. Something about early detection algorithms for degenerative diseases. I'll pull the flash drive from his pocket. She kept backups. Encrypted. The hospital cleaned out her lab after she passed, threw most of it away. I saved this. Figured someday someone might want it. He set the drive on the table between us. Why give it to me now? Because if Apex buys your company, they own all proprietary technology developed by key personnel during their tenure. That's what the news said. Your wife worked on Richardson Analytics projects from home sometimes, didn't she? Frequently. Then her research might fall under the acquisition terms. Apex would own it. AL's eyes were steady. I don't know what's on that drive, Mr. Richardson. But your wife protected it. She encrypted it. She never submitted it to the hospital. Maybe she was waiting for the right time. Maybe she wanted you to have it, not some corporation. He tipped an invisible hat and walked back to his corner table. I sat there holding a flash drive that might contain my dead wife's final work. At home, I plugged the drive into Sarah's old computer, the one I'd never cleared, never updated, never touched. Her password was still saved. The encryption broke after 3 attempts. Our wedding date. Folders opened. Spreadsheets, code, medical journals, and a video file labeled for Robert. My hand shook on the mouse. Sarah's face filled the screen. She looked tired, thin. This was late stage, maybe weeks before she died. She was in the hospital research lab, sitting under fluorescent lights at 2 in the morning. Hi, sweetheart, she said to the camera. If you're watching this, I'm gone, and you found my research. I hope I got it to you. I paid him to keep it safe if anything happened to me. My throat closed. I've been working on something important. Diagnostic software that can detect early markers for diseases like the one killing me. If it works, really works, it could save millions of lives. She smiled, that familiar expression that still undid me. But it's not ready. It needs funding, testing, years of development. And I know you'll want to give it away, make it free, save the world. She leaned closer to the camera. Don't. This research is worth hundreds of millions if developed properly. I built it separate from Mercy, separate from Richardson Analytics, using my own time and resources. It belongs to us. To you, after I'm gone. Her voice steadied. Protect it, Robert. Don't let anyone take it. And don't sell the company until you've figured out what to do with this. Marcus doesn't know. He can't know. Not yet. He's too eager, too hungry for the easy win. He'll push you to Monet eyes before it's ready. The video ended. I sat in silence as morning light crept through the windows. At 9 a.m., my phone rang. Marcus. Dad, the lawyers are ready. Apex is waiting. We need your signature today. I looked at the flash drive. I'm not signing, I said. Marcus appeared at my door within the hour. What do you mean you're not signing? He pushed past me into the house, still wearing his suit from the office. We have a binding letter of intent. Apex has committed resources. The board approved this. The board advises. I decide. I closed the door. I'm not ready to sell. Not ready. Marcus's voice climbed. Dad, you've been checked out for 2 years. You show up to the office maybe once a month. You sit in that chair, he pointed at Sarah's reading spot, and you stare out windows. You're ready. You're past ready. Things have changed. What things? He followed me to the kitchen. Is this about Mom? Because she'd want you to move on, to enjoy your life, not cling to a company you don't even run anymore. I poured coffee, my hands steadier than they'd been in months. You didn't know your mother as well as you think. I knew her my entire life. You knew her as your mother. I knew her as a partner, as a scientist, as someone who built things that mattered. I turned to face him. She left research. Unfinished work. I need time to figure out what to do with it. Marcus's expression shifted, confusion giving way to calculation. What research? Medical diagnostics. Early disease detection algorithms. That was her hospital work. It belongs to Mercy General. No, she developed it independently. It's separate. Dad, Marcus's tone went careful, like he was talking to someone fragile. Even if Mom had some side project, it doesn't affect the Apex deal. Richardson Analytics is data modeling software for business applications. Medical diagnostics is a completely different field. The technology overlaps. The core algorithms, the pattern recognition systems, they're built on the same framework I developed for the company, which means they fall under the acquisition if there's any corporate connection. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Where is this research? Secure. Dad, you can't derail a $30 million deal over something that might not even be viable. Mom was sick when she died. She wasn't thinking clearly. You said yourself she was on heavy medication those last months. Her mind was sharp until the end. Was it? Marcus leaned against the counter. Because I remember visiting the hospital. I remember her forgetting conversations, repeating herself, getting confused about what year it was. That's what terminal illness does. It breaks people down. Don't, I said quietly. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to help you see reality. Whatever Mom was working on, if she really thought it was viable, she would have told you. She would have published it, pursued it properly. The fact that she hid it suggests she knew it wasn't sound. She hid it to protect it. From what? From people who'd exploit it before it was ready. Marcus shook his head. Listen to yourself. You sound paranoid. This is grief talking, not logic. You're inventing conspiracies because you can't let her go. I set my mud down with deliberate control. I built Richardson Analytics from nothing. I know the difference between viable technology and wishful thinking. Your mother's research is real, it's valuable, and I won't sign away the rights until I understand its full potential. You don't have rights to sign away. If it's medical software, it's outside the acquisition scope. Not if Apex's lawyers decide the underlying architecture connects to our existing patents. Not if they argue that work done on company equipment or company time constitutes corporate property. I'd spent the morning reading the acquisition contract with new eyes. The language is broad, Marcus. Deliberately broad. Apex would own anything derived from or related to proprietary Richardson Analytics technology or methodology. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then, show me the research. Let me evaluate it objectively. No, Dad. You've already decided it's worthless. You've already committed to the sale. You're not objective. And you are? You're making decisions based on a dead woman's. He stopped himself, but the words hung there. Say it, I said. I'm sorry. That came out wrong. You were going to say delusions. Or maybe fantasies. I walked to the door. Get out of my house. Dad, please. I said get out. He left. The door closed with a soft click that felt louder than a slam. I spent the afternoon going through Sarah's research. The algorithms were elegant, sophisticated, Exactly what I'd expect from her. The medical data was beyond my expertise, but the underlying structure, the pattern recognition, the predictive modeling, was brilliant. And it was built on foundations similar to Richardson Analytics' core technology. Not copied, not stolen, but inspired by the same principles, the same approaches to finding meaning in chaos. If Apex acquired the company, their lawyers would argue ownership. They'd bury Sarah's work in corporate bureaucracy, maybe shelve it, maybe develop it on their timeline for their profit. She'd known that risk. That's why she'd hidden it. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. The board is calling an emergency meeting. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Your attendance is requested. Not required. Requested. Because I still held majority shares. I replied, I'll be there. Then I called someone I hadn't spoken to in 5 years. David Chun, patent attorney, and Sarah's former colleague from her early research days. Robert, David said, surprise evident. It's been a long time. I need your expertise. Urgently. How fast can you review medical research software and advise on patent protection? A pause. Is this about Sarah's work? You knew? She consulted me 2 years ago, asked hypothetical questions about protecting research developed outside institutional frameworks. I didn't know specifics, but I knew she was working on something important. His voice softened. I'm sorry I didn't reach out after she passed. I should have. Can you help me now? Absolutely. I sent him the encrypted files. Then I sat with Sarah's photograph, the one from our 40th anniversary, her smile bright despite the illness already taking hold. I won't let them bury this, I told her. Whatever it costs. The next morning, I dressed in my gray suit and drove to Richardson Analytics headquarters for the first time in 6 weeks. The boardroom held 8 people, but only one voice mattered. Marcus stood at the head of the table, my chair conspicuously empty beside him. The board members, 5 people I'd selected years ago, 3 Marcus had added, sat with folders and coffee and careful expressions. Thank you all for coming on short notice, Marcus began. We have a situation that requires immediate resolution. I took my seat. Marcus's jaw tightened. My father has expressed concerns about the Apex acquisition. Concerns that, with respect, stem from personal grief rather than business judgment. He opened a folder. I've asked our legal team to review the acquisition terms. They've confirmed that any external research projects have no bearing on this deal. Richardson Analytics will transfer to Apex with its current technology portfolio. Nothing more. The general counsel, a woman named Patricia whom I had hired 12 years ago, met my eyes. That's correct, with one caveat. If external technology can be proven to derive from corporate IP, it could be contested. Which is why, Marcus continued, we need to move forward before complications arise. Before my father's situation becomes a legal liability. My situation, I said quietly. Dad, you're not well. Everyone understands that. Mom's death was traumatic. You've been isolated, depressed, making decisions based on emotions rather than data. The kind, responsible thing is to complete this sale and ensure your financial security before I become incompetent? I kept my voice level. That's what you're suggesting. That I'm mentally unfit. Marcus's silence was answer enough. I pulled out my phone and placed it on the table. David Chen, you're on speaker. Please introduce yourself to the board. David's voice came through clear. David Chen, patent attorney specializing in medical technology. I've spent the past 18 hours reviewing research files provided by Robert Richardson. The work is extraordinary. Early detection algorithms for degenerative diseases with accuracy rates that exceed anything currently available. The board members leaned forward. This research, David continued, was developed independently by Sarah Richardson using her personal time and resources. It contains no proprietary Richardson Analytics code, no company data, no corporate assets. However, it employs methodological approaches similar to the pattern recognition frameworks Robert developed. Not derivative, parallel evolution of similar concepts. Marcus stood. Which means it's unrelated to our sale. Not exactly, David said. Apex's acquisition language is aggressive. They could argue that methodology itself constitutes IP, especially if they want to suppress competitive technology. Mrs. Richardson's research, if fully developed, would revolutionize medical diagnostics. That's a multi-billion-dollar market. Apex has healthcare divisions. They'd want it. Patricia was reading the contract now, her expression shifting. But here's the interesting part, David went on. Sarah Richardson filed a provisional patent 3 months before she died. Basic framework, enough to establish priority. She never completed the full application, but the provisional is still valid for another 7 months. I hadn't known that. Sarah had taken steps even I wasn't aware of. Robert Richardson, as her widower and sole heir, now owns that provisional patent. If he completes the application and secures the patent, he controls technology worth potentially more than Richardson Analytics itself. The room was absolutely silent. Marcus found his voice. That's speculation. And proven medical software is worthless without FDA approval, clinical trials, years of development. True, I said. Which is why I'm not selling the company. Dad, I'm not selling because I need Richardson Analytics' resources, expertise, and infrastructure to develop Sarah's research properly. Our data scientists, our modeling systems, our established reputation. All of it becomes essential if we pivot into medical technology. Patricia was nodding slowly. That's actually viable. We need to restructure, hire medical specialists, but the core competencies transfer. This is insane, Marcus said. We're a business analytics company, not a healthcare startup. We're whatever I decide we are. I still hold 60% of shares. Shares you've ignored for 2 years while I actually ran the company. And you ran it well, I acknowledged. You increased revenue, expanded clients, built something sale-worthy. But selling was never the only option. It was just the easy one. Marcus's face flushed. Easy? I spent 6 months negotiating this deal. 6 months of my life working to secure our future, and you're throwing it away because you can't accept that Mom is gone. This isn't about accepting her death. It's about honoring her life. By destroying the company you built together? By finishing what she started. I stood. Sarah spent her last 2 years developing technology that could save lives. She protected it, encrypted it, ensured it would reach me. She knew I'd have to choose between the easy money and the hard work. She trusted I'd choose right. I looked around the table at faces I'd known for years. I'm proposing we decline the Apex acquisition and restructure Richardson Analytics to develop medical diagnostic software. We use Sarah's research as our foundation. We hire the right people, pursue the right partnerships, do the work properly. It'll take years. It'll be risky. But if it works, if we can build what she envisioned, we won't just make money. We'll save lives. And if it fails? Marcus asked. If her research doesn't pan out? If we burn through capital and destroy a profitable company for nothing? Then we failed trying to do something that mattered. Patricia closed the contract. I'd like to see the research. 2 other board members nodded. Marcus looked at them, betrayed. You're actually considering this. Your mother was brilliant, Patricia said gently. If she thought this was viable, it deserves exploration. The meeting dissolved into technical discussions, questions, debate. David walked them through the research basics. I explained a provisional patent, the timeline, the possibilities. Marcus sat silent, watching his deal evaporate. When the board left, he remained. You're really doing this, he said. Yes. You'll need a CEO who believes in it, who can actually execute. He stood. That's not me. I signed up to run a business analytics company, not chase my mother's ghost. I understand. Do you? Because I've spent 2 years trying to pull you out of grief, trying to give you a future that didn't hurt, and you're choosing pain instead. You're choosing years of hard work when you could be comfortable. Your mother and I were never comfortable. We were purposeful. Marcus walked to the door, then turned. The Apex deal had a spot for me. VP of Strategic Development, guaranteed position. I'd already negotiated it. That's gone now. I'm sorry. Are you? His voice wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. Or are you so focused on Mom's legacy that you can't see how this affects anyone else? He left before I could answer. That was 11 months ago. Marcus took a position at a competitor. We don't speak much, though I hear he's doing well. Jennifer, his wife, sends Christmas cards. They're cordial, distant, the way family becomes when fundamental disagreements create unbridgeable gaps. Richardson Analytics is now Richardson Medical Solutions. We hired a CEO with healthcare experience, a woman named Dr. Sarah Chun, no relation to David, who'd lost her own sister to the kind of disease Sarah's software might have detected early. We've completed the full patent application. Clinical trials begin next quarter. The work is hard, expensive, uncertain. Some days I wonder if Marcus was right, if I chose ghost chasing over pragmatism. Then I walk through our new medical research division and see scientists working on Sarah's algorithms, improving them, expanding them. I see the potential in their faces. Last week, Dr. Chin showed me preliminary trial results. The software detected disease markers 18 months earlier than conventional methods. 18 months that could mean treatment success instead of palliative care. I sat in the lab, the same kind of fluorescent lit space where Sarah had worked alone at 2 a.m., and I cried. That night, I went home to the empty house, made coffee, sat in Sarah's reading chair for the first time since she died. The flash drive sat on the table beside me. I'd never erased it, never deleted her video. Sometimes I still watched it, heard her voice, saw her tired smile. We're doing it, I told the screen. It's slow, it's hard, but we're doing it right. On my phone was an email from Marcus. Brief, formal, saw the trial results in the news. Congratulations. Mom would be proud. Not I'm proud, but it was something. I'd given up $30 million, a comfortable retirement, and an easy relationship with my son. In return, I got uncertainty, exhaustion, and the possibility that Sarah's last work might actually save the lives she'd hoped to save. Some people would call that a bad trait. But sitting in her chair, drinking cold coffee in the gray morning light, I knew she'd call it the only trade worth making. The work wasn't finished. Maybe it never would be. But it was purposeful, meaningful, built on principles that transcended profit. That was legacy. Not the money. Not the easy exit. The choice to honor what someone you love believed was worth their final breath. And that, tired, uncertain, still grieving, felt like enough.